What's going on, everybody? It's Chris from Profoto, and today we're going to be expanding on what we've been doing for the last couple of weeks. So the last couple of weeks, we've been covering one light portraits. We started doing one light portraits with hard light. We moved on to doing soft light last week. And what we're gonna do today is we're gonna take one of the portraits from last week and we're gonna add a second light to that. And we're not only gonna add a second light to it, but we're gonna move that second light around. So you can see it in different ways, kind of the different ways that light will hit the subject and change the overall look of the image. So, and what we decided to do is we're gonna go back with the strip box look that we did, and we turned the set today. That way you could actually see better what it is that we were doing. I know last week we were kind of head on with you, and it was a little bit harder to see the positioning of the strip box and how we were setting that up. So we're gonna do that again this week, but now we're gonna add it in a second light. And we're gonna do some fill from underneath. We're gonna do a kicker from the back, and we're gonna do a little bit of a hair light, and even throw some light towards the background, just so you can see how a second light can change up the look of your shot just by its placement. So really, really simple stuff. A lot of the same things that you saw last week are some of the things that you're gonna see this week. So lighting wise, we're using a Profoto D2 right there with a RFI 1x4 strip box over the front of it. RFI just because the heavier duty RFI box can handle the heat of the D2, the modeling lamp of the D2. And then we have a B10 is what we're gonna be using for our second light. And the second modifier that we're gonna be using is actually just another strip box. We're gonna use the OCF 1x3 strip box for this. And because the B10 uses a LED modeling lamp, just like the B1s, the B2s and stuff like that, we can use the OCF modifiers because they're made to not have to handle the heavy heat of the 300 watt halogen lamp of the D2. So, like I said, what we're gonna do is we're just gonna move it around. I think since I already kind of have it set here, we're gonna start with it as a fill from underneath. That way you can kind of see, and we're gonna take shots with and without it. That way we can have straight up A/B comparisons over what makes that light change the look of the shot. And then also, like we were talking about last week, we're gonna be using the strip box overhead. It has a little bit of a tilt to it. The idea behind it is, once again, if you missed last week, I'll just explain it anyway, but if you watched last week but you couldn't really see it because we were kind of heads up with it, this is what the idea behind it is. One, you have this strip box right here, right overhead. Kate will be positioned somewhere like right around here to where the back part of this light will give her a hair light up top. But then this part right here will start to fill her face in. And that's why it's slanted. So we can actually get this light right here to fill in, a nice little hair light here. And then because it's a strip box, it's got a nice little edge definition right here on the side. So we'll be able to get some, especially because Caitlin has some more angular cheekbones, we'll be able to highlight that, which is really, really nice, really flattering. So you can kind of get some really, really cool shadows on the face with that. Then we have another strip box that we'll be moving around once again, for filling underneath. We're gonna do a kicker. We're gonna probably take the strip box off and just like throw a whole bunch of light towards the back of Caitlin and kind of halo it out. And then we'll probably flip that back around and then hit the background, just to show you different ways that you can utilize the a second light in your shot. We could easily do a hair light as well with this, but we're probably not going to with this shot because this strip box is making its own hair light, so you wouldn't necessarily see it so much because of how much the light is wrapping back this way. I could always throw it up there just so you could see what it looks like if you'd like to, but chances of you actually seeing anything by adding this light, pretty slim. The one thing that we could do that is cool is we could throw this up there as a hair light and then overpower it a little bit, kind of just let a little bit of flare into the shot, which could be pretty. So we could try that as well. So, but just like I said, just exploring different ways that we could use a second light. Let me see if you guys have any questions about anything before we kick this thing off. Let's see. Hey, everybody. Brussels in the house. My boy Anthony Falsarella. What's up, dude? Carl. Hey, man. How's it going, everybody? What's up, everybody? Virginia. Hopefully everybody's staying warm. I know some of my counterparts in Texas aren't doing so well with that. So hopefully if you are in Texas, you're safe, you're warm, and you're doing well. So let's fire it up and let's get going. So gear-wise, once again, I talked about the lights. People always like to know like what I'm photographing into. Capture 121 is what I'm using for my tethering system. I use a Fuji X-T3 as my camera with an aero mode on top of it. Today we have the 35mm 1.4, which will be a 50mm equivalent to a full frame camera. So camera settings wise, you can see them on the screen, but to talk about them, we are going to be at f8, 250th of a second on the shutter speed and an ISO of 160. And I think we are all locked in on that stuff too, so we're good. All right, so you ready to get rocking and rolling, Caitlin? Cool. Let's click on this. Let's turn on my modeling lamp to the D2. That way we can get a good idea of what it is. And like I said, we're gonna shoot each one of these shots with and without. That way you can see what it looks like with the fill light and what it looks like absent of the fill light. So let's go ahead and put light B, which is my B10, into sleep mode because we just want to see it with, we just want to see it only the main light right now. Couldn't spit that out to save my life. Come on, step forward for me. Right on. So there you go, just a little over the shoulder. So 3, 2, 1. Fantastic. So here's the shot with no supplementation to it whatsoever. This is just the 1x4 strip box. Really, really pretty. Like I said, the way that the light falls, it does a really, really good job of highlighting those cheekbones and adding some definition to the face, which is really, really cool. But maybe you want to fill in some shadows underneath. You can use a reflector, you can use a second light, however you want to do that. So we're going to use another strip box, and I'm actually going to use it a little bit off to the side. I know it's really, really hard to see, but most people would,
Bigify it for a second.
Gotcha. So most of the time, and this, you're probably still not gonna see it that well, you know, most people would jam the light directly underneath. But the problem with doing that with this shot is I'm trying to keep this light right here really narrow, and this starts to widen it back out. I could in theory, I didn't actually think about this. I could, in theory, take it to like a clamshell.
Ooh.
Let's see what happens with the clamshell. There we go. I could, in theory, go the clamshell route. It's not probably what I want because it's going to kind of stick out a little bit more than I wanted. It's going to kind of, I think that kind of starts jamming into you a little bit too much, doesn't it? Let's see if I can get that down here a little bit.
I feel like we have to try it.
Yeah, we have to try it now that I said it. So this should probably help keep that, make sure it's not in the shot anywhere, cool. This should help us keep the look and feel of using the strip box. I'm just gonna point it up a little bit more. And then try not to knock my camera over while I'm doing it. There we go. So here we go. So take a tiny shuffle back this way, right there, perfect. So here we go with the light turn, the light turned on for fill at the bottom, 3, 2, 1. Cool. So let's do an A/B comparison of the two.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry, Kate. So let's zoom in a little bit here, just so we can kind of match it up a little bit more, because I clearly, there we changed my, that's fine. So you can see we still have some nice definition here on the cheekbones, which is cool, but what we've done is we've added in a little bit of fill here, so the contrast isn't quite as heavy. It's started to open up the face a little bit more. You can see up underneath the nose, once again, not as contrasty, which is cool if that's the look that you're going for. The cool thing is, there's no written rules to this. You can decide that, you know what, I really like the moody, contrasty look of the single light setup, which is awesome. Or if you feel like you need to fill that in a little bit more, just because maybe it's not your style or that's not the vibe you're trying to get for that shot, it's a really simple way to bring that contrast back up, and it still has a lot of the characteristics of the shot. So all the highlights should look really cool. The nice thing is you have an extra little catch light here at the bottom. It's kind of nice to go with a square as your fill light up underneath. It feels a little bit more natural. Sometimes a little circle underneath, at least to me, doesn't feel quite as natural as going with a something square, because if you're shooting outside for the most part, you're not gonna have like little circles everywhere, bouncing light from the sun back up. So it kind of helps it continue to feel a little more natural. So, but really, really nice stuff. Once again, just brings the contrast up. it's really, really nice. But if you're going contrast, you know, it still looks really, really nice as well. You can see also it opened up the eyes a little bit more, which is nice. So very, very cool stuff. A lot of same characteristics in the hair. I probably she probably moved in just a little bit more for this shot right here. Uh-oh.
Jim says, plug in your Mac. He saw the same thing. He says your Mac is low.
Oh, my Mac is low. Good catch. You know what? We accidentally kicked it unplugged earlier, and maybe we didn't catch the rest of it. Come on. Don't fight me, Mac. I also have a, there we go. Now we're charging. I have a funky, battery is not charging. Source power adapter. Yeah, I've got a bad USB-C cable, which is always a good time. So cool. We're just going to leave it there. Hopefully I don't kick it unplugged and we lose it. So, but we do have the power adapter. Oh, we're charging now. We're good. We're back in business. So cool. But that was a really, really easy way of opening up that shot. So now let's take that light and move it around to the side and see what a kicker to the side of the hair is going to look like. It's going to give it a little bit more of a wrap feel while still keeping a lot of that edge that you get on the side of the face. So
could you try it with a reflector?
Could totally try it with a reflector. I don't have my reflector down here. I can if you want to run and grab it, I'll set this light up, okay, and then and I'll just keep chatting. So we used the reflector. We used the reflector the other day for Caitlin has an e-com biz that she does, and she was using it to photograph a couple of her products that she sells, which is kind of cool. So, and yeah, so I guess it would have been a good idea to actually bring it back into the studio. So what we're going to use before we go with the reflector, or while Caitlin's getting the reflector, we're setting this up. We're gonna take this 1x3 strip once again, and it's just gonna hit Kate right here on the side where her hair wraps. And this way we should get, like I said, a nice little highlight to the side of the hair. And it'll almost feel like the light's coming down and wrapping around this way, which is kind of neat. Oh, she's back already. That was super fast. Super fast. So cool. So let me turn off my B light and let's see what it looks like with the reflector. Yeah, I'll hold it. Yeah, I'll hold it. This is the Profoto. This is the Profoto reflector medium. I beat the crap out of this thing. I've had it for years, and it's still ticking. It's really, really awesome. I've just got the sun silver side and the white side. We're just gonna use the white side. So cool. Let's turn head B off.
I got my workout in today.
Yeah, you're good. You ran. Cool. So take a. No, you're pretty good right there. Got your breath? You good?
Good.
Actually, I'm gonna pivot my camera up just a little bit. There we go. 3, 2, 1. Cool. So let's compare the 3. Actually, I don't really even need to compare the 3. We can just compare the 2. So, bop. So here you go. So it does a lot of the same stuff. So you can see that it started to open up down here underneath the nose. Same thing. So like if I brought the, let's go to full screen. So if just like this one right here, the flash has a touch more power to it, and that's just because I have it powered up more, but it's not really that different. You're still able to, once again, maintain a lot of the same characteristics of the face, even with just something as simple as a reflector, which is nice. So it looks really, really good. I probably could have raised the reflector up a little bit more. I didn't know how much space I had left in the frame while I was holding it. So I probably could have raised it up a little bit more and got a little bit more similar look to this, but this is pretty good. Like I said, it dropped the contrast down. It looks really, really nice. Not mad about that at all. So cool.
Couple questions.
Oh.
What's the light stand used for the second light?
So all my light stands are Avenger. They're just my favorites. This is an Avenger roller with just a grip head and then a grip arm holding the B10. This kind of allows me to move it around however I want to. It's almost ball head like-ish, which is a terrible way of saying that. But yeah, it's just an Avenger roller with a grip arm, a grip head, and a B10 on the end of it. And then this big light stand right here, once again, just an Avenger low roller. with a mini boom by Avenger, and then yeah.
Would this work also with 2 1x3 strips?
100%. Yeah, you don't have to use a 1x4. You could totally do it. It's you might have to, and I could change out the B10 if we want to, just to see how it looks with a 1x3. You'll probably just have to tilt it a little bit more, but it'd probably be just fine. I mean, Caitlin's probably been standing right here. So yeah, I mean, a 1x3, you're just gonna be about right here with the light. You might just want to angle it this way a little bit more. 1x3, you do a great job. You definitely don't have to go the 1x4 route. It's just nice to have the extra latitude, honestly. What would be really fun is to try it with a 1x6, which I just don't have. But I think a 1x6 could be cool too, just because you could probably rock it even more and then get more wrap towards the back, which is neat. So
I really want 2 B10 plus to go with Leica M10.
yeah, do it.
Will the Profoto backpack work with this on the go?
Yeah, 100%. So I have a Fuji system. So the question was, someone has a Leica M10 and they want to go with like a 2B10 setup, and they were wondering if that's good for on the go. And the answer is yeah, super good for on the go. I use a Fuji system, which is probably around the same size as the camera, and I have 2 or 3. Like when we roll, Caitlin, what is it, like 2 or 3 lenses in the bag, both 2 lights. So yeah, it'd be really, really easy to do. I definitely always have a zoom and 2 primes in there, so cool. So we're gonna do 2 different side lights. So we're gonna do, once again, this one, because Caitlin is positioned this way with her hair coming around. I want the light just to kind of wrap or like I said, it kind of feel like a waterfall, just highlighting her hair. And then we're gonna bring one around to kind of highlight that cheekbone. So this should still give definition to the cheekbone, but this, whenever we bring the light over here, it's gonna just give a little bit of a kick, which is cool. But we're gonna start with the one with the hair first. And once again, you're just able to move 2 lights around. Oh, there you go. The patented hair flip.
Yeah. Is it done?
So I'm not gonna go reflector for this one. I'm just gonna show you how the light's gonna start to change up with the light moving around. And this is one of the things that you should do, especially when you're getting into lighting in the first place. Just move the light around and play with it. See where the light and the shadow fall. This is the fun stuff about lighting, is experimenting and finding looks that you absolutely love. Once again, this whole 1x4 strip box thing was just me and a friend of mine goofing around at a workshop a few years ago, and I fell in love with it. So here we go. So let's turn B back on. I might have to power it up. I definitely didn't. There we go. Here we go. Ready, Kate? 3, 2, 1. So cool. It's subtle. And I might actually have to power it up a little bit more. Let me look at it. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a little bit of juice. Hang there tight for Kate. Let's just go up a full stop and see what happens. See how it feels a full stop up. 3, 2, 1. That's cool. Yeah, full stop up is kind of nice. And then so let's go back to the first shot with nothing in it. So here we go. So the nice thing here, you know what I do have? I have a battery that's not charging, and I have a very dusty computer screen. So we're just crushing life. And then I just clicked the before and after thing. So I'm just doing great. Don't worry about me, everybody. Everything's going terribly. Very, very cool. So, awesome. There we go. There's my before and after. I want to get rid of it. So cool. Let me zoom in here a little bit so we can see. A little bit off to the side there. Perfect. So the nice thing about this is that we were able to give a little bit of a highlight to the hair, which is great. But then we're also added just a touch of separation from the background, just with this little highlight here, which is great because, once again, it can stay contrasty without losing Caitlin to the background, which we're trying to keep dark because we're trying to keep the whole thing moody. So once again, it just looks really, really nice hitting the hair here. Once again, because the light is going over the top of her head, it already has a really nice overhead light hair light feel. But this just kind of adds a little bit of wrap there and then a touch of separation. Once again, still tons of definition in the cheekbones. Looks really, really fantastic. So what we're gonna do here is we're just gonna move that light to the other side. And so what you'll see is we're gonna see some more, we're gonna see that we maintain this definition over here. We're just gonna bring that contrast up a little bit more. And once again, give more separation to this side as opposed to this. So.
Rob just bought a V10 kit, and having the modeling bulbs on during a shoot seems to affect the battery life. Of course it does. Yeah. So if you run the continuous lamp while you're shooting with the B series, you're absolutely going to run, because it's got to take that energy from somewhere, and if you're not plugged in, then it's going to take it from the battery. So you absolutely don't get the same amount of flashes running the constant lamp as you do with the constant lamp off. If you're in a place where you can plug in while you're shooting it, I would do that. So like whenever I shoot with my B10s here in the studio, I try to keep them plugged in. That way I can run the continuous lamp and not have to worry about that at all. So you're just going to trickle charge the battery while you're shooting. It should hang no problem, because the battery charge is relatively fast as is. And the continuous light doesn't consume that much juice. It just, when you're not plugged in, it will drastically affect the amount of flash that you get on. So yes, your continuous light does affect that. All right, we've got the strip box over here on this side now. Yeah, we're ready for you. And I'm using a strip box, just so you know, because I want to try to, once again, keep the light off the background. So the strip box is letting me point the light where I want, staying soft in one direction and a little bit harder in the other direction. And because our soft boxes have a recessed front, I have more of an edge that I can actually point and move around, which is nice. So let's get you positioned underneath really fast. I'm gonna make sure I have this right where I want it. I want the light to hit, but not kick around too much. All right, here we go. So, and then we will bring up the three shots together, and that way we can compare them all together. 3, 2, 1. Perfect. Good, we're good, Kate, that was awesome. So, let's go and look at all of these. There we go. You look very Avengers-ish, like a superhero. So cool. So you can start to kind of see, let me go back to full screen. So you can start to see here what I was talking about. So this was baseline, nothing added. This is just the 1x4 strip by itself. With the second light off to the hair side, we have a little bit of separation and a little bit more highlight to the hair. What's cool here is this little kicker adds a little interest over here to this side of her face, but because the main light is still falling from overhead, we still have some nice definition in her cheekbones, which is beautiful. And that's once again, the idea of keeping the light thin this way, but long out further. That way the light this way is soft, this light is a little bit harder. It's really, really nice. So, but then once again, oh, hold on, let me grab her tool. The separation is off to this side a little bit more, which is very, very cool. So just different looks that you can get just by moving your light around. So let's see, let me pull this one back up right here. Boop. So now, see if I can get it about this, roughly the same size. There we go. And then so here we go. So this is nothing there. This is just the light solo by itself. This is with a light from that same strip box from underneath, giving more of a clamshell lighting setup, filling in some of those shadows. Looks really, really nice. Has a little crispness to it, which is nice. And then we take that same light and we moved it off to the hair side. So we actually have a little bit of highlight here and a little bit more highlight to the hair, which is really, really pretty. And then we just moved it back around over here to give it a little bit more of a kick, which is cool. And then so just for funsies, what I think we're gonna do is I think we're gonna throw it overhead like a hair light from overhead. And I'm gonna power it up just a little bit so it flares and kind of gives like this little ethereal look to the overhead. How many stops under is the kicker?
Oh, I did not. Let's see. I don't know what my power output on my D2 is because it's way up there. I could find out really fast. I'm at 4.3 here. So my D2 is a 1000. My D2 is the 1000 watt, and I'm using the, so I'm at 4.3. Cool. I might actually have to lower that back down. I'm at 4.3 there, and I'm at 4.3 here, which means I am 2 stops lower
on the kicker here because it's a 250 watt versus 1000 watt. So they're at the same setting, but because this is 2 stops less bright, it's 2 stops lower. So kicker's 2 stops lower. And I haven't changed that power since we came over here. So like we took that first shot, we took the first shot over here and we were 3 stops lower, and then I brought it back up. So the 2 shots that you see, the hair shot from this side and the kicker shot from that side, are the same power level. I didn't adjust that whatsoever. And then I'm pretty sure when we were here, this is 3 stops lower because I went straight from here to here without changing the power. Yep, so we're 3 stops lower here, 2 stops lower here. Cool, and now we're gonna go overhead.
I need an apple box.
No, I'm gonna lower the light back down. I'm gonna lower the light back down. I got a little crazy. I apologize. Sorry, I hit you with the light. Workers' comp. Sweet. So we're just gonna use this grip arm to kind of boom this out a little bit more and get it overhead. Yeah. So I want it just out of frame, just barely out of frame. That way the edge of the light starts to flare into the shot. So I'm shooting up a little bit, so I have to kind of make sure that it's out of the frame. It's not quite out of the frame. I actually need to kick it up a little bit here. This is another nice thing about going the grip head and grip arm route. So let's boom, we're tight there. Let's boom up right there. I think that's just slightly out of the frame. Once again, I want it just barely out of the edge of the frame. Could you actually go look at my camera screen and tell me when you can see the end of it?
Yeah.
Or else I'm just gonna wind up going back and forth.
I don't see it.
Tell me when you see it.
Yep.
You can see it now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
There we go.
Out?
Perfect.
Perfect, cool. So once again, I want that there just so it flares a little bit. And then come forward a little bit, Caitlin. I'm gonna bring this light back down. Actually, take a tiny, you're good right there. Yeah, you're good right there. And so you can see how I bring the light down. It should just be out of the frame of my camera. It is. So here we go. 3, 2, 1. So that's with nothing changed. That's and it's not doing the flare that I want just yet. I'm gonna have to power it up to get to there. But just so you know, I didn't change the power setting from the kicker to where it is as a back hair light coming from the back. So what I think I'm gonna do is I think I'm gonna go up 2 stops just to see what happens. I think that's gonna give me what I'm looking for. So just from the air remote, I just hold the button down until it goes up 2 stops. And we should be flaring. 3, 2, 1. Well, it's not flaring as much as I would like it to. Let's see. I think I might have to pump it up some more. The cool thing is now we have a little bit of separation here. You can see it over the shoulder. And then you can see a little bit of separation here in the arm while we're still keeping the back nicely contrasty. And once again, the edge of the softbox is allowing us to do that. I'm gonna power it up just a little bit more because I want to try to get that thing to flare. It's fighting me. So let's see what happens. So we were, just so you guys are aware, we were down 2 stops different. We're now 1 stop brighter on the background or on the hair light than we are on the main. So there we go. So, take a tiny step this way. There we go. 3, 2, 1. It's starting to flare the way I want. I'm gonna go up another half a stop. 3, 2, 1. There we go. Now I'm starting to get some more of the flare that I want. So the light's starting to flare out right here. The hair light is starting to get a little more pronounced. And the cool thing is I'm nowhere near overexposed on that light, which is really, really cool. So these are the things you can start to do. You can start to toy around with it and get the separation in different places. I can take that same light. Right now it's kind of, it's starting to affect the background a little more than I'd like it to. So what I could do is I could easily just throw a grid onto it. I'm not gonna ruffle through my mess to grab the grid really quick, but I could throw the grid onto it and easily get this extra light that's right here totally out of the shot. But it's starting to give me that flare that I was looking for right up here. It's a subtle flare. It's nothing too crazy, but I think it's really nice. It's a cool little touch you can add to the shot, which is neat. So, and once again, we still have that definition in the cheekbones. So it still has a lot of the same characteristics of that light, but we're just adding in a light from above now. So just to kind of go over what we've done, let's pull them all up. We have a plethora to choose from. So let's go here and here. So 5 different, you know what, I'm gonna shuffle them. I'm just gonna shuffle one of them out for just a second and then we'll bring it up. So once again, these were the first 4 shots we took. This one right here is going to be nothing there. We have a light from underneath right here just to give some fill from underneath. That way we fill in some of those shadows there. Then here, what we did is we added the it's really still just a kicker, but it's there to add some highlight to the shoulder, but also to the hair. I probably could have pumped up the power a touch more on it just to kind of give some more oomph right here to the hair, but it didn't. So that's neither here nor there. And then on this side right here, we just flipped it around. That way we could get the light onto that jawline. We can start to highlight this jawline right here, which she has a pretty good one. You have a good jawline.
Oh, thank you.
You have a great jawline. So she has a really great jawline, but she also has really killer cheekbones. So we were able to keep the main light highlighting those cheekbones, but also giving that jaw a little love with the kicker light, which is cool. And then let's get rid of one of them. Let's get rid of the first shot, and then we can compare just like all the different modifier versions. And then we brought in another one here. And the point here was just to give it some more love to the hair right here. So a little bit more on the hair light. We powered it up a little bit more so I could get some flare right here, which is what I was going for. And then once again, we still have some separation from the background because it's now starting to throw some light on Caitlin's back shoulder, but you can also see here on her arm, there's a little light coming down from above, which is really, really cool. And then once again, you could change this out to where you took that same light and you blast it to the background. So if you wanted to highlight the background, you could do that. I think I'm gonna take one more shot just because I think it would be cool. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the light behind Caitlin, pointed towards her, and I'm gonna try to like blow out the light coming from the background. So it should put a nice like highlight around her hair. And then I'm gonna check, see if you have any questions and see if we need to shoot anything in particular. So let's take this bad boy down. I don't wanna hit you. Cool.
Someone was saying that we needed to do like a cars and trucks shoot.
Oh yeah, it'd be super fun. It'd be super fun. I mean, I've definitely never done it. It'd be fun. It'd be fun to play around with it. Somebody was asking the other day about photographing large trucks, and I would photograph it the way that I told him to do it, which is just take a big strip box and lock the camera off and just highlight a bunch of stuff. So there we go. Let's just do that. Cool. Cool. I think I've got that grip arm out of the shot. I probably don't, but it'll be okay. Hopefully it'll go dark enough. Take a step forward to me. Here we go. So I don't know about the power adjustment on this just yet. It might be right there. It may not be. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, it's close. It's pointing past you. Just stay right there. There we go. And I'm actually gonna boom this up a skosh to the hair. The thing is, it's going to be kicking a lot of light around the room, so it's going to start to highlight. It's going to start to light the background, especially because it's going to hit this. It's going to hit that background. I don't want to do that, so let's do this really fast. Let's do this really fast. We're going to go OCF grid. I have like many of them right here. I just have to make sure I have the right one. I have like 9 snoots, and that's all that is. All I'm doing is opening snoots. Cool. Yep, here they are. So we're just gonna throw like the OCF2 grid on there. Let's keep it pretty wide. What is that, my 20? Let's go 20, because I think the 30 is stacked up in there somewhere. Let's just see with the grid. Once again, because I just want to keep the background as dark as possible, so. Perfect. So we're still powered up. So here we go. Ready, Kate? 3, 2, 1. There it goes. So I could probably get to my 30-degree grid and start to kick around some more light here, but I've gotten my background back, which is what I wanted. Let's stay right there. I just want to point this up a little bit more. and see if I can get that right where I want it. Sorry, just trying to make sure I'm in line with Kate's hair.
Sorry. I'm gonna flip-flop so people can see.
Oh, gotcha. Oh, because they're looking at the screen right now?
Yeah. Hold on a second.
Hi, everybody. All right, cool. So once again, 30-degree grid, OCF style, OCF 2 style with the magnet clips. I'm gonna kind of line it up with my camera. That way I know it's right where Kate is. Good to go. Cool. Let's see what happens. I could be way off on this. I still think I probably need the 30-degree grid, but let's see what happens. 3, 2, 1. There it goes. It's starting to highlight the back here as one. The grip arm's in the shot. I could maneuver some stuff around to get rid of that, but you can kick the light towards the subject. You can kick it overhead, from the sides, underneath. There's a lot of things you can do with 2 lights. So let's see if you have any questions. And I'm in full screen mode right now. Let's see. Before we sign off of this bad boy. Oh, it's Will wanting to see cars and trucks. I see you, man. I see you out there, Will. Let's see. What's the rolling toolbox used for, and what's the brand? How are you hanging the modifiers above the tool chest? So it's just a toolbox from Home Depot. It's a Husky. I use it to just kind of put a lot of lights and modifiers on the top of it because I just always grab things really quickly. I really need to organize it, but it's got some nice storage for like all my video things, which is cool. Those are just wall cups. I don't know if we sell them.
I don't know if you can see, but I also like to hang my hats.
Oh yeah, she likes to hang her hats on them. Like you can just see out of the corner right there, she stole one of my wall cups for a hat. But yeah, it's like just these little cups right here that you screw into a stud on the wall. They're really, really nice. 100 millimeters. So I mean, you can make them if you wanted to. Just cut something to 100 millimeters and screw it to the wall. It'll hold just fine. Let's see.
If you could only buy 2 modifiers, what would they be?
Yeah, I could. Someone said flash, low ISO, fast shutter speed. Yeah, so I have my ISO pretty low. I want to keep my shutter speed at 2/50th of a second. I don't really want to go into high speed sync. I could, but I'm trying not to. So, but yeah, I could definitely, to knock down that background some more, I could definitely go into high speed sync. It's just not what I'm trying to do. And like I said, the more of the issue was probably the flash was hitting that white background, which is right there, and just acting like a gigantic reflector and kicking it back. So a grid fixed it. 20 degrees was probably a little bit less than I wanted. 30 degrees if I wanted to fish through my stack of stuff, but I didn't. So that was kind of like a last minute thing. Let's see. How is the camera not catching the background? Because I'm hiding Kate. Oh, how is the camera not catching the background? Because one, I have the light so close to Kate that it doesn't have enough time to have a proper exposure on her and get to the background and get back to my camera. It's just inverse square law. And 2, I have the lights pointed away from it to try to keep as much light off of them as I can. So that's what's going on there. Let's see. Interesting to see the 1x4 strip mocks create paramount lighting. Yeah, it's fun, and the nice thing about it is, once again, there's no rules to any of this stuff. Just play with it. Once I said it like 3 times already between last week and this week, but this was just me and a friend of mine goofing around at a workshop. We were actually helping at the workshop, but we just were like, hey, let's photograph for a second. Next thing you know, this is one of my favorite setups. Let's see. I like your typing there, Caitlin. We has a Husky toolbox. We has a Husky toolbox. Very, very cool. Let's see. Oh, a little smoke would be dope. Yeah, you know what? I've kind of been jonesing for like a little fogger. I don't want to do the spray can air because it's got some oils in it that if it gets into your stuff, it's not really, really good. So, but I've been wanting to get like a little mister. We'll see if I can get one of those things. A 5-light setup. Well, you know, pardon me. I want to build to some bigger things. So this kind of series that we were just going through with 1, 2, and we're going to continue on with a 3-light just to see what you can build totally, is just kind of giving people some ideas behind how to use them. But I'd love to do like a 5 or 6-light setup just to see what kind of crazy shenanigans we can get into. So we'll plan for that. Let's see. You can only buy 2 modifiers. What would I buy? I would buy the OCF Magnum reflector, and I would buy a white umbrella, this one right here. Large white deep umbrella. I would buy this
and I would buy this. Nope, it's hooked. So these two modifiers right here. These would be my two. Because this right here is going to give me the power that I need outside if I need it, and plus I like shooting hard light. It's really, really fun. And then if I just need a really soft, smooth modifier, a white umbrella is great. And then you can throw a diffusion panel on the top of it, and it looks even nicer. So these would be my two that I would get all day long. Let me hang that back up there. The wall cups are nice, right? I used to have modifiers everywhere before the wall cups.
Why stop at 5? How about 20 lights?
Let's do it. You know what? I was helping out at a workshop once, a long time ago, and Lou Freeman, I think, she was using like 20 lights on a set. I was like, this is bananas, but she was so good at pointing them right where she wanted. Like she was highlighting specific things. It was pretty bonkers. Definitely not my style, but it's just cool to see how people use stuff. Pardon me. Color gels in action. We are bringing color gels here very, very soon. Color gels are happening. Don't worry about that. We've got some cool plans for that. Hey, and Will said use the gels with 3 lights. You know, maybe we'll do that. Maybe we can just start throwing the gels into the 3 light setup. Cool. I shoot a lot of high school sports. Thinking mostly strips, 3 to 5 lights. What do you think? I mean, you could definitely. A friend of mine, his name is John David Pittman. He and I shot the Little Rock High School football team. They were a Nike sponsored team, so they had like these really just killer Nike jerseys. And we went in there with 4 strip boxes and a 3-foot octa. And we made some really, really, really cool stuff. You should go check him out. JohnDavidPittman.com, I think is his website. Might be JD Pittman. I know that's what he is on a lot of social stuff, but go check that out because they were really, really cool shots. I know he's got them on his Instagram at JD Pittman. So cool, 20 lights, done. I also like to see 2 or 3 lights with gels. Cool, so 2 and 3 lights with gels. That's what people want to see. We'll do it. Be fun. But this was a blast. Thank you all so much for coming and hanging out. Once again, this was just an expansion on. I'm starting to die a little bit. I need my water bottle.
Oh, got it.
Apologize for drinking on a microphone. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us. This was just a continuation of what we were doing last week with 1 light, just adding in a second light and showing you how you could take that and get different looks just with a second light. We even threw in a reflector instead of using a light for the fill from underneath, and it was gorgeous. Pretty similar results. You have a little bit more control with an actual flash, but a reflector will do a great job too, and you can save a little bit of money. So that's pretty awesome. So in the meantime, if you have any questions, if you want to look into any of the stuff that we use today, we got links and stuff. There's also a free course to the distance direction and shape academy course for Profoto up in the description, also in the comments, pinned comments. So you can check that out as well. But hopefully this was awesome. I always have fun doing this with you. And thank you all for the suggestions of the stuff that you want to see, because we will be adding that to our lineup of stuff coming up. So in the meantime, I hope you have an awesome rest of your week. Reach out to me anytime if you want to talk. If you have any other suggestions, if there's anything that you have a question about, let us know, and we'll be more than happy to talk to you. In the meantime, have an awesome rest of your week, great weekend, stay safe. Peace out.